Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game SO. Taking a long-running series, the Unported Playlist, where I take a look at my favorite unported arcade games of all time. And if you can't tell already, we're playing Contra Evolution HD today. And before you go down below and comment that it has been ported to iOS, yes, that is true. It has been delisted and it's no longer available, and it only uses touch controls. Let me tell you, if you're going to play a game as hard as Contra, the last thing you want to do is have to tap to move your character around. Before you get too far involved, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Definitely helps us out. If you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, got a Patreon link down below as well. But Contra Evolution HD started its life as an arcade game, and this is basically just a remake of the original Contra. And this game has two completely different sides of the same coin. As far as the gameplay is concerned, as far as the challenge, and as far as the fun, this is as good as the original Contra ever was. Now on the graphical side of things, this may be one of the jankiest, poorliest animated arcade games I've ever played. You can 100% tell this is a budget release, and later on in the game I will show you some really hilarious animations or lack thereof on a lot of the opponents. But honestly, that doesn't really matter to me. This might not be the prettiest game in the world, but it is still Contra remade, and it still has the same fun factor, the same challenge, and the same great weapon selection that the original would. And I actually love this game because it allows me to talk about jank and an amazing game all in the same sentence. Because often I talk about really amazing arcade games that everyone loves, and I talk about janky arcade games that have something to love about them, but they're pretty weird in and of themselves. Contra Evolution HD satisfies both of those checkboxes though. You have an incredible game that's every bit as fun as the NES original, and you also have an absolutely janky presentation. I love the animation for that spin jump there. There's like 8 frames in that 3D model. All of the waterfalls, all of the grass really do look like they basically rushed this game out the door as quick as humanly possible, but it doesn't end up mattering because the gameplay is so fun, and that's why this title is so interesting. It never got ported to any home console. It did get ported to phones with touch controls, and it's since been delisted, so the only way really to play this game is to play the arcade original either in an arcade cabinet or on any sort of PC, because this is just a PC executable. It was never distributed for PCs, but it works on pretty much any modern platform. And some areas like this, honestly, I love the look of this. Kind of feels almost like a clay model, like you're watching a miniature come to life. There's some areas in this game where you can totally understand where the art style is going for, and there's other areas in the game where you wonder if they just ran out of time and couldn't animate anything any further. But it is a stylistic design choice, and it does emulate the NES original so well, because this is the same level structure, it's the same overall gameplay, it's the same fun and challenge, just with an HD coat of paint and some weird animations. And like any other Contra game, definitely bring a friend. It's going to be so much more fun with 2 players. And I love playing this game because it teleports me back to playing the NES original, but it just looks and feels completely different at the same time. And I will say these segments right here, now being in full proper 3D, look really nice as well. And that's the great thing about this game and Contra in general. It is aged extremely well in the gameplay department. Sure, the NES original definitely has some antiquated graphics, but they are charming. But if you put on Contra, it is still the same fun that it was decades ago, and Evolution HD just takes that fun and puts it in full 3D with a little bit of jank to go into the mix. In some ways, these backgrounds here kind of feel like a shmup background, except in a static image, and I love these characters with the wings that jump off to try to attack you. And that's why I can't recommend this game enough. It is just Contra, and anyone will tell you Contra is an incredible game, and if you've never played it before, definitely one you should check out. And if honestly you've never played Contra before, play the NES original, then play this arcade version just to see how overall it translates into a quote-unquote modern 3D look. Basically, this was a budget release to get players to put their quarters into the machine because they recognize Contra, and on the gameplay side of things, they succeeded. It's a ton of fun. And of course, it is based on a Konami property as well, so the soundtrack is great. Go ahead and listen for 45 seconds. I'll come back and show you more of the janky fun on offer here. fun music, and honestly this model here with the snow going across the screen, I actually love how it animates. It feels like a stop motion animation, almost like it was done frame by frame. That's definitely not how it was done, but here it is effective, and that's kind of the fun thing about Contra Evolution HD. Towards the later end of the game, the animations get a little bit worse, and it almost feels like they made the game linearly and they ran out of a little bit of time when it came to the animations later on in the game. But honestly, again, it just doesn't really matter to me. This is the same Contra I grew up on, and a lot of us grew up on, and it's one that I feel like not many people have actually played. But leave me a comment down below and tell me if you've ever played Contra Evolution HD, or if you ever played on your phone. I couldn't find a copy to add to my phone. I wanted to try it just to see how bad the touchscreen controls were, but honestly I gave up in like 5 minutes because it wasn't something I was going to add to the video. But here on the arcade version, the controls are responsive, the gameplay is fun, the weapon selection and ability to choose multiple weapons and keep them in reserve totally works. It is just classic Contra in so many fun ways, and again, when you add a little bit of jankiness in, that is just the recipe that I crave when I talk about arcade games. But right here, this boss, absolutely hilarious. He has maybe like 4 to 6 frames of animation, and this jump right here doesn't have a single frame of animation. He just throws that leg up, teleports into the air, and goes from there, and you can just jump over him and shoot him with absolute invulnerability. And this is where the game really does feel janky, but again, it is fun because you do have to avoid things, you do have projectiles coming towards you, and the boss does have a pattern, but I love that jump there. That one leg in the air is absolutely hilarious to me. It has charm, it has flair, and it also has jank all at the same time. And again, this is going to be a fun game. Maybe you want to try to speedrun it, because if you're good at the original Contra, this is basically the exact same game, just in 3D, and you get a nice 16:9 presentation as well. And I just love the fact that this game exists. We didn't really need a new version of Contra remade in HD for arcades, but somebody felt like giving us one anyway, and that is the type of thing I always appreciate. And these levels here towards the end, they're always trying to get you to die, just to get a couple more quarters out of you. But unlike the NES version as well, you can basically put as many quarters into this as you want to learn to play the game. You're not going to get kicked out after 3 to 4 credits or have to use the Konami code here. So it is a little easier to play in that respect as well. But tell me down below, what do you think of the overall art style? I'd be very curious to hear what your opinion is. In some areas you just get a black background and it kind of works and it reminds me of the original game. The colors, the models here, all have that 10% jank, 90% success rate going on, and as you watch those gears spin as well, that's another area in which I really feel like this was almost stop motion animated. I'm not sure what development process in 3D modeling and design would give you that look, so if you know, leave me a comment down below. Maybe it's just the lack of frames that I'm interpreting to be that stop motion look. And this dude right here, this gigantic head coming out, the only thing that moves is his jaw and eye, and again it just goes back and forth. It makes me laugh at it the entire time I'm playing, while also having a good time playing the game. And that is something that you don't get out of many arcade games. You can have fun and laugh at it all at the same time. And this section here, just running through at a full sprint, making jumps, classic Contra formula, love it, 10 out of 10 fun, wouldn't change a thing about it whatsoever. And that is why I can't recommend this game enough. It is everything you want it to be, both good and bad at the same time, and that is definitely something I have to advocate for. And I love all of these chomping maws on the walls as well. And of course, as the final boss, you know it, you love it, you recognize it. That's the great thing about this game. It doesn't do anything different than the original Contra, because the original Contra is so good, it really didn't need any changes whatsoever. It just up-reses it to HD, it adds 3D graphics, it adds a little bit of jank, and a whole lot of fun. And trust me, if you've never played this one before, it's super easy to grab online and play, and you can't go wrong with it. But short of that, we are done. Contra Evolution HD, 10 out of 10 and 5 out of 10 all at the same time. See you next time. Bye-bye.